everyone, and welcome to another cleaning video. Today we take a look at this. This is a rather long and very thin bladed, you can see. Unfortunately the tip is broken, but it's a very interesting Spanish style small sword, also called Espadín in Spanish or possibly Portuguese, I suppose. I've had different opinions on the matter, but we'll, again, as usual with the cleaning videos, we'll keep all of that for a further video where we can dive into the details. In this one, we're going to, well, I would say clean it, but as you can probably see, it actually requires a little more than cleaning in this case. It's all completely oxidized and covered in rust. Not necessarily active or aggressive, so it'll be interesting to see how we take care of it and yeah, and what happens once we oil it up and clean it. So let's dive in. Okay, so this one's going to be a bit of a tricky one, I think. In fact, more than an actual cleaning video, this is a video where I'll do some intervention on the sword, but I'm going to be asking you guys or the community overall to let me know what you think and what you would do, because this sword has a lot of things going on. So the first thing, we'll take a look at the blade just to see its conditions. You can see it's dark, deeply patinated, and that's not a problem in itself. That's actually something that you want to have on antique swords. You don't necessarily want to have them super shiny. Not that you want to have them, but let's say it's not a bad thing if an antique sword is patinated like this. But it's also really dirty and it's very rough and full of concretions and stuff. So we're going to quickly wipe that with oil and perhaps a little bit of Autosol to see what's up. So this is the part where I'm confident, I'm not too worried. Actually, what's interesting here, we'll see if maybe something will emerge, but there's like what I think is some leftover of some engravings in this little fuller, you can see here. So that's pretty cool, we'll see. But what I'm interested in is more here, because you can see the hilt is, well, in very rough conditions, but it also looks like it was at some point perhaps painted, or it looks to me like it was painted, honestly, or covered with some kind of coating, because you can see, I'm not sure this is like rust. I mean, the red stuff is rust, but this black stuff is really smooth and feels almost like a paint. And you see it more, you see it better here. So for example, here, to me, this looks almost like paint or some kind of varnish or stuff. So, well, what I'd like to know here, I'll oil the whole thing, of course, just to get the rust out. But what I'd like to know then eventually from you, and you can already start thinking about it now and leave it in the comments, or is how you would proceed with this. If you think that this black layer is something that is that should be conserved, not that I'm aiming to remove it, but let's say, should it be something in your eyes that needs to be kept as close as can be to this, to what you see now, or is it just yeah, some later paint job or just dirt? We'll see. But oh, and another thing which I want to pick your brains on is, you'll probably notice, I don't know if you can see it, but this blade is really crooked. It's gone through some quite tough times in its time, I would say. So again, here my question is, it doesn't bother me personally, but I see it as an opportunity perhaps to attempt straightening, at least on this bigger part. I would be a little more uncertain of doing it here on the thin part, because look how thin it is. But let's say here, I feel like there's enough meat that it could probably, I've seen a few techniques on straightening a blade, but yeah, I just want to hear a few opinions before I make a decision and what you would think you would do. I'll get to cleaning it. We start with a little bit of oil just to see what, at least, like, lots of times the oil is already enough to understand a bunch of what situation we're looking at. And here it looks like it's going to be a bit of a tough one. One thing you notice after a while after a bit of time cleaning swords, you really feel the friction when there's a lot of like rust and when the blade needs a deep cleaning. So if your kind of fiber cloth or your sponge just kind of catches everywhere on the blade and doesn't move, then it's something you might need to clean a little deeper. Okay, so quick update. I tried using a little bit of autosol here, and I do not see any negative effect. Like literally none. I don't see any lines. I don't see, it hasn't removed the black stuff on it. So I think I might pass a little bit of autosol really lightly along the blade, and yeah, and then figure out. I'm kind of comfortable with this one because, as you see, it's in relic conditions. It's not, yeah, it's not something that will be further damaged, I think, by any small scratch or anything. But I'll see you in just a minute after I pass a little bit of autosol. Again, the important thing for me, I feel, in these cases is always to do things incrementally. So don't just choose you want to use autosol and kind of go at it for 15 minutes with sandpaper. But if you choose you want to try autosol, go lightly. Do it in a way that you don't see like splotches where you worked. So you either do the whole blade or you try it in spots where it's not visible. And yeah, make sure everything is kind of consistent and in small steps. That way you'll always be able to stop before you do any damage. Okay, and after a little rubbing with autosol, it's time to see if, well, what changes, if any, we have. So even though not much has changed, it's looking, the feel is way better. You can see details in the blade that otherwise you couldn't see. So I always find that to be a good thing. For instance, one thing that now I can see that I couldn't see before is how this lozenge, well, diamond shaped section blade actually has a flattened section on, well, where the edges should meet, which is actually very beautiful to see. I think that transfers on camera. Yeah, you can see it there. That wasn't really visible before. There actually is some remains of marks here. So this looks like an eye, I would say, or possibly, I'm sorry, it's a little bit difficult to realistically look through the camera, but there's an L somewhere, what looks like an L. I think it's this one then. I don't know if it shows on camera, but live it looks like an L for sure. You can see a few letters here. There's somewhere an A. It's a little tough to show them on camera, but let's say looking close up with good lighting, you can kind of see. So this was kind of hidden before, not that now it makes it much better, but you can make out something that before couldn't be read. There you also have these like small dots or marks of this kind. So something is there. I need to look at it a little better, possibly with a magnifying lens. If you have any ideas of what it may be, feel free to let me know in the comments. But now I'll move on to the hilt, just with a really quick rubbing, but nothing too aggressive again. Okay, and with the sword cleaned, I'm happy to report that there's no real damage. This black stuff, whether it's an original layer of paint or whether it's like oxidation or just like the metal aging, hasn't really been removed, so it's safe. You can see it here perfectly. The inside is in good condition. No damage or anything to the grip, and unfortunately it's a little loose. So repeening may be an option on this sword as well. Not repeening completely, but let's say just tightening the peen. And again, this could be a kind of a bit of a crowd-sourced project. Let me know what you think, what you would do, or what you think should be done. I'll my camera's overheating because I can see things getting jittery. So I'll quickly apply some oil and then we'll close the video. And there we go, oiled up and ready for display, or if that is the final decision, for an attempt to light correction of the bend. But I don't know if it comes through on camera, but seeing it live, this now looks like something that you would be happy to hang in your house, for example, but at least it doesn't look like a barn find. So let me know what you think. If you think this was an improvement, I hope so. If you would have done things any differently, or if you have any suggestions for further sword cleaning, and let me know what you think I should do with the blade. So thank you for watching and see you soon. Bye.